Viewer discretion is advised. It's almost that time of year again when the winds change along with the leaves and the days grow darker. Halloween. But for me, I realized why wait for one day a year to have spooky fun? Why not just make it year-round? Well, in preparation for the upcoming holiday and the release of the fourth and final film in the franchise, I wanted to approach The Conjuring. The movie is a very straightforward story based on the real investigations made by Ed and Lorraine Warren in the 1970s Perron family house. In January of 1971, the parents, Roger and Carolyn, and their 5 daughters move into a 14-bedroom farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island. Soon enough, the mother and her 5 daughters begin to experience bizarre occurrences around the house, which lead them to eventually finding multiple spirits in the house. Things take a turn for the worse when the family dog is found dead and Carolyn begins finding nasty large bruises on her body. Eventually, one of these spirits becomes aggressive towards the family, and they sought out the help of the Warrens to investigate the paranormal happenings around the house. This takes about half of the movie's runtime before the Warrens actually do anything. Once the Warrens arrive, Lorraine experiences a dark entity that is attached to the family and tells Ed they need to help them. So Ed brings in one of their understudies and a cop. Why the cop? I don't know. He's at least a fun character. Setting up equipment around the house in anticipation for the coming night when the evil begins. Every night around 3:07, the hauntings begin. It escalates to the discovery of an evil satanic witch, Bathsheba, from the 1800s, who killed her own child to defy God and make an allegiance with Satan. The Warrens race around the house trying to prevent Bathsheba from hurting anyone before she possesses the mother in the dirt floor cellar. Ed, knowing they're running out of time and can't get a Catholic priest to perform the exorcism, so he wings it and he does it on the spot, and together they vanquish Bathsheba, and the morning light shines through. To explain how well done this movie is, I'd sum it up as this movie was released in the middle of summer and it was still financially successful. I'm not saying all horror movies released in the summer do badly in the box office, it's just not a conventional time in my opinion. The 2 stars that stand out is the 2 mothers of this film, Vera Farmiga and Lily Taylor, which is a good thing because the story is about being a mother. Bathsheba was a terrible one. Everybody does great in their performances, from the children crying and screaming to the jump scares our characters experience with us.
Ed?
Look what you made me do!
When this scene was shown in theaters, it actually got me. I'd love to say I once prided myself on not being scared of jump scares, but this one got me. It's a simple trick of having 2 actresses dressed as the nurse. One walks in a different direction and the other one pops out in the opposite direction. Also, watching this time, no, it didn't scare me, but it still holds up after all this. The people who deserve the most credit for this film and its legacy are actually the cinematographers. The way the camera moves, how it's placed, and most frustratingly, it controls what we see, often feeling like it's limiting us, leading us into a longer sense of suspense until the ghost reveals itself. The movie is very well done and can be very scary at times, placing itself as one of the greatest paranormal films of all time. An interesting fact about this film is that they had Lorraine Warren on the set consulting the film. But how does it hold up to the original story now that Hollywood has it? We've got some things to talk about. The Perrons are a real family and they have a lot of kids. Excited about their new house, they never thought that anything bad was going to happen. Roger, the husband, is barely in the story, which makes sense. In the movie, he's depicted as a trucker, and they're not home that often. It begins with Carolyn starting to hear something scraping at her kettle in the kitchen, or fresh piles of dirt appearing after just being cleaned. The girls begin to see spirits in and around the house, and this, all according to some website I found. At some point, they begin to smell a foul odor around the house, a dark presence. This leads the mom, Carolyn, to do her own research, and she found out that the house has seen quite a few deaths in the past, some very tragic ones. She also began to circle around the idea that the spirit of the local witch was behind this, aka the real Bathsheba. Bathsheba was indeed a real woman who lived in the area in the 1800s and was accused at one point of killing a neighbor's child, but she was never taken to court, and the locals spun a folktale about this. After the neighbor's child died, the doctors discovered a puncture wound in his head. Later on, Bathsheba would give birth to her own son, and 1 week later sacrifice him to the devil. Her husband caught her in the act, and she climbed up a tree and hung herself in 1849. There are some stories of 3 other siblings, but there's no proof of them. or any of this was ever happening. And today, we can go to Bathsheba's grave. It's in downtown Harrisville, and it clearly states she passed away in 1885. Eventually, the parents couldn't take it anymore, and they got in contact with the Warrens. In the film, it's shown that basically the Warrens arrive at the farmhouse, they see the dark entity, and now they're entitled to help this scared family. It took them one night to beat the demon. While in real life, the Warrens milked the hell out of the parents. It was several visits over a few years, and by the end, Roger kicked the Warrens out because Carolyn's declining mental health. The Warrens never solved or helped the parents. They just tortured them over a long period of time. I know the real story isn't what Hollywood wants, but I find it interesting that the Warrens are the bad guys. Yet here we are idolizing a strange glamour image of them.
Ghost hunters, paranormal researchers.
Kooks.
Wackos.
The big mix-up between reality and the movie was that the real Warrens would not perform an exorcism without an appointed Catholic priest. So in reality, they performed a seance, and one of the children later claimed to have witnessed this event. Conducted by Lorraine, Carolyn became possessed at the seance and began speaking in tongues and levitating in her chair. Okay, I hate to break it to you, but seances are always faked. With this being said, the writers and James Wan made a good choice to change the seance into a pop-up exorcism and wrap up the whole story. This film is also a great starter for those getting into the paranormal, like the beloved classic film The Exorcist, which was written in a way to make it accessible to everyone, explaining how to perform exorcisms. The Conjuring will teach you how to hunt for ghosts. And who's going to teach us, other than the Warrens? The three knocks are a mocking of the Holy Trinity. The clock stops at 3, aka the witching hour. The use of flash photography to capture any environmental shifts or anomalies. And the most frightening one of all, in reality and in the film, Carolyn and her daughters begin smelling a foul odor from time to time. This odor, often described as sulfur, rotten eggs, or flesh, is thought to belong to an unworldly spirit or demon. Now, there is a location in this film that is used occasionally for some scares throughout the film before becoming the epicenter of the climax, the dirt-floored cellar. In the film, Roger finds the cellar after one of his daughters breaks a panel in a coat rack. Someone intentionally covered up this door. This is probably one of the dumbest things in the film. In the cellar is your furnace, and everyone's complaining about how cold it is. And as a father, wouldn't it be your job to look for a heating unit? Second of all, cellar has windows. So one day, while you're walking around your house, you'd see the windows and go, hey, I think we have a cellar. What I'm getting at is that the discovery of the secret cellar is contrived. In the real world, the parents knew about the cellar because old man Roger would have to venture down often to the furnace that was having a lot of difficulties. While he was down there, he claimed to feel a dark presence within. With all the research done by Carolyn, nothing that she found would make the cellar haunted. It's just a creepy location under the house. Now, I don't know where the real seance took place, but it wouldn't be in a dirt floor cellar. Like how the movie's equivalent, The Exorcism, takes place down here. In fact, the movie relies on this being the scariest place in the house, where we see several full-body apparitions lurking about. This leads us to the infamous hand-clapping scene. The film does a great job establishing that this hand-clapping game the girls play is like Marco Polo. Carolyn uses it several times and ends up luring the ghost of a little boy. The boy appears throughout the house, but when it comes to the scene, he's in the cellar with Carolyn, who had just fallen down the stairs and hit her head hard. Unable to see, she finds matches and lights them one after another, and then she sits on the stairs and tries to clap again.
Wanna play hide and clap?
This would scare anyone, but you know what's scarier? She's using matches in an old 1800s wooden house. She's playing with fire in a prepped and primed tinderbox. It's so moronic to me. It's not like flashlights didn't exist. It's only 1970. Look, the safest way to play with fire is by not doing it at all. Some of you would want to argue that the short duration of each match, giving Carolyn a limited amount of time and light, adds to the suspense and tension building for this scene. I'd argue a flickering flashlight would have the same effect. The film actually begins with us meeting the Warrens as they're interviewing two nurses and a random dude who says nothing about the mysterious doll they found, Annabelle. Annabelle is one of the most, if not the most, famous haunted dolls of our lifetime, and the Warrens did obtain her for some time. The real doll is a Raggedy Ann, not this creepy porcelain monster. But James Wan loves his creepy dolls. Just look at Billy from Saw, and his sophomore directorial, Dead Silence, also known as Billy, because they can only have one name. I want to talk about the real story behind Annabelle, but she has a whole trilogy of bad movies for me to talk about, so I'm gonna save that for later. The Conjuring is still a good movie, and it's a tough one to overlook when thinking about scary moments of cinema. Though the story is not all that comparable to what happened in real life, this fictional retelling is a blast of scary fun and demonic possession. I give The Conjuring a 4 out of 5. James Wan clearly knows horror and how it resonates with the audience. The film did great, of course, sparking the Conjuring-verse franchise from it, and though many of the movies are not good, eventually I'd like to approach each film at some degree in the future. This film also has a sad legacy to it. Due to the popularity of the film, Bathsheba's tombstone has been vandalized and repaired several times. It's a disgusting thing to ever do, especially in the fact that you're doing it out of folklore about a witch. The real farmhouse has also been targeted, with the owners suing Warner Brothers over damages. People were breaking into their house and leaving articles of Satanism. If I lived there, I'd be pissed too. Okay, that's the first Conjuring. I hope you liked it. Does this movie scare you? Or did it? Or was it just a fun adventure for you to take? Thank you for watching. Goodbye.